It is time for what is probably the most popular tag on BookTube, besides the BookTube newbie tag, that is. And I will have the original creators of this tag linked in the description because I think it is amazing how popular and fun this tag continues to be year after year. And with that, let's get into the BookTube mid-year freakout tag. Number 1 is best book you've read so far this year, and that is Lost Art Dreaming. Have I screamed about this book enough that you've decided to read it? Because you really should read it. I absolutely loved Lost Art Dreaming. I have a reading vlog of it, which I will have linked, and I also have a book review of it, which might not be posted on the channel yet, but it is coming. And Lost Art Dreaming is set in our world in the future. The world is covered in water and people live in these high-rise towers, and there are these water demons that might be out to get the humans for something the humans did. And we follow these 3 characters on one of the worst days in their life where everything goes wrong, and we really get to know them throughout. They're experiencing this horrible thing that's happening. Basically, there is a breach in the tower, and there is threats from both outside and inside the tower. And we are really exploring these characters as they face a crisis and as they work on survival, which I think survival is a huge theme in this book, as well as just what it means to be human and, you know, the human capacity to help each other while they're trying to survive and to hurt each other while they're trying to survive. So I absolutely love this book. It was gorgeously written. It is very short. It's under 200 pages, and I highly recommend it. Question 2 is the best sequel you've read so far this year. And I have suddenly realized why I am so bad at continuing series, because I've only read 1 sequel this year, and that is Fugitive Telemetry. So it gets the best sequel by default. I've really enjoyed all of the Murderbot books, and I have enjoyed Fugitive Telemetry, although I kind of forget which one this is. I think this one's like the murder mystery one. I read them all like really close together, but this was the only one I read this year, and I read it in January, so I kind of forget which book's which of Murderbot, but I've enjoyed Murderbot, so yeah, they're fun, and I like Murderbot's humor. Murderbot is a robot that would rather watch TV than do what he's supposed to do, which is protect the humans he's assigned to guard and be the security guard for. And he has basically gotten into his wiring and his security system. He's hacked his security system that he no longer has to listen to the humans, and he can just watch TV instead, but he's really a big softie and ends up helping the humans out anyway because he feels guilty, but he complains about it, and it's fun. Now, with that said, I am currently reading A Closed and Common Orbit and A Clash of Kings, so I am probably reading more sequels this year. You know what my goal should be for the rest of the year? Read sequels. Because I've read too many first in the series or standalones, and my goal should be read more sequels. So maybe. But I am currently reading 2 sequels right now, and whenever I reflect on the best sequels of the year, probably one of those will be it. Question 3 is a new release that you haven't yet read but want to, and I could spend all day on these next 2 questions because I am way too plugged in to new releases coming out, and there are like 20 books coming out every day. I'm exaggerating, but still, there are way too many books. No, I mean, there probably are 20 books coming out every day, but most of them come out on Tuesdays. That's why I say I'm exaggerating. There's probably 100,000 books coming out every Tuesday. I can't keep up. That's my point. With that said, a new release that was not super high on my radar, but is now very high on my radar because Mare from Lady Mare Reads keeps screaming about it and I need to know, is Dragon Rider by Taran Matharu. She keeps screaming about how good it is, and I have to read it now because it looks interesting and it was on my radar. I was like, yeah, I'll read it if I get around to it. Well, now I need to get around to it. She also talked recently about how much she loved A Dance of Shadows, and that one was high on my radar. I was very interested in that one, so I'm even more excited to pick that one up. Editing Rebecca popping in here to give a important update, and I turned off the AC to record this, but The Dance of Shadows is not released in the US, and it has no US release date currently. So I don't know when I'm going to get to that one. It's going to be kind of hard to get the book right now, but hopefully it comes out. Probably not this year, but hopefully it comes out in the US soon. But it's a 2024 release, not here. Other new releases that I haven't gotten to, but I really need to get to soon. One of them is Moon of the Turning Leaves. I definitely plan on getting to that one soon. I'm interested in Exordia by Seth Dickerson. I've heard good things about Seth Dickerson. I think his works would be ones that I would really enjoy. And, you know, I could just go on Red Site, Service Model, The Briar Book of the Dead, The Book of Doors, and Just Stab Me Now are a few of the many books that have come out this year that I want to read. Question 4 is most anticipated book of the second half of the year. And as I said, I am way too plugged in to new books that are coming out. Probably the book that I went into this year the most excited about was Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. So I read A Study in Drowning last year, and I absolutely loved it. And then I found out that Ava Reid is doing a Macbeth retelling, and I am so excited to read Lady Macbeth that I actually have the arc for it, and I haven't read it yet. But I'm going to, and it comes out, I believe, in August, and I'm going to start reading the arc soon. I am also super excited for Sky on Fire. This is a standalone fantasy book with dragons, and it looks absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait for it. I'm also excited about Ghostsmith, which comes out in August and is the second book in the Bonesmith series, or the series started with Bonesmith. It just looks really cool and really good, and I'm excited for the second one, even though I haven't read the first one, which came out last year and was like an anticipated book of last year. The Mercy of Gods by James S.A. Corey also looks super good. I have not read any James S.A. Corey, but this sounds like a great place to start because it's a new series, and I'm excited for that. I am also really excited for The Blood of Old Kings, which comes out much later in the year. I think November, maybe October. And the cover is gorgeous and it sounds amazing. And like, have I told you that I am way too plugged in with new books and I want to read them all? Speaking of new books, question 5 is biggest disappointment, and that award has to go to The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. It should have been good. It should have been good, but it wasn't. It was disappointing. It felt like a retelling or an alternate universe of the Creatureverse series, and it was fine. It was fine. Yeah, that's definitely my most disappointing. Other disappointing books, Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay is one that I read recently, and I've heard really, really great things about Guy Gavriel Kay, and I maybe have just started with one of his worst books because Tigana didn't work great for me. I liked parts of it, but I also was disappointed and let down by other parts. Another disappointing book I read this year was The Justice of Kings. I actually DNF'd this one. That's how disappointed I was in it. I have mostly heard positive things. Like, I'm pretty sure I only heard positive things going into the book. And then I ended up not really liking it. And I do have a review where I explain all about why I don't like it, so I will have that linked. Question 6 is biggest surprise. And I'm going to have 2 on here for the biggest surprise because it's really hard to pick. One of them is This Is How You Lose the Time War. I have not talked about this book enough on my channel, and I really, really liked it. So we are following 2 characters as they are going on a time war. They can travel through time and they leave notes for each other, and they're working for different agencies that are competing with each other, and they are very sassy at the beginning and kind of like, haha, I got you this time, didn't I? Or you can't catch me, or whatever. And then the more they leave notes for each other, like, they really start to develop a relationship. And I really liked This Is How You Lose the Time War, and I liked it much better than I expect. I went into it, expecting that I might enjoy it, but I knew it was like a very polarizing book, and I'm happy that I ended up on the this is a really good book side of the conversation. And the other book that I loved that was a big surprise for me this year is The Spear Cut Through Water. This is one of the most unique books I've ever read. And I listened to the audiobook and I absolutely loved the audiobook. The audiobook is a performance. It's a performance, and the narrator does an excellent job because we are flipping between first, second, and third person. Sometimes I'm like within a couple paragraphs, we've experienced all three perspectives, and the narrator does an excellent job giving different inflections for those perspectives. And at the beginning of the story, you are being told a story by your Lola. And it really does feel that way. It feels like if you listen to this book, you are experiencing the story as told to you by your Lola. You're sitting there listening to this amazing tale. And I've never read a book with second person before, and I've definitely never read a book that flips between perspectives this frequently. And I loved it, and I'm not sure if I would have loved it quite as much if I read the physical book or the ebook. I'm sure I would have still enjoyed it, but there's something absolutely special about the audiobook experience. Question 7 is favorite new author, and my answer is most definitely Suyi Davies Okungbowa, who is the writer of Lost Ark Dreaming. So honestly, Lost Ark Dreaming is probably my biggest surprise book, but I'm trying not to say the same books over and over again, but I definitely have to give a shout out to Suyi Davies Okungbowa. And I picked up 2 of his other books at the library today because I need to read more stuff that he has written. I have heard Son of the Storm previously, but I didn't actually know much about it, and it wasn't super high on my list, and now it is like the highest book on my list. And the other one, David Mogo Godhunter, I have never heard anyone talk about this book. Like literally never heard a single person talk about this book. And the cover is gorgeous. The cover is gorgeous. And I'm willing to read anything this author writes. Another potential favorite is P. Djeli Clark. So I read Dead Cattail Assassins, and I really enjoyed the writing in Dead Cattail Assassins, and I'm very interested in reading more P. Djeli Clark. I haven't actually talked about Dead Cattail Assassins at all on my channel, but I do have a couple videos upcoming where I will be talking more about that book. It's a lot of fun, it's crazy, and the writing was great. Question 8 is newest fictional crush, and I don't really have one. Question 9 is newest favorite character, and I have to go with Red and Blue from This Is How You Lose the Time War. They were just so much fun to read about, and particularly their banter, their little scenes where they would discover the other person leaving letters for them, and you get to see a little bit into what's going on, and just their banter. It was so much fun. It was so much fun, and I absolutely loved getting to spend time with Red and Blue from This Is How You Lose the Time War. Question 10 is a book that made you cry. And I am someone who cries very easily, but I haven't read any books that made me cry this year, which is a little surprising. I guess I'm just not reading sad books. But yeah, I've not read any books that made me cry. Question 11 is a book that made you happy, and I'm going to go with rereads for this one. So I reread His Majesty's Dragon earlier this year and did a book review for it, and I intended to read the entire series and do book reviews for all of them, and I kind of got distracted by books that I haven't read previously. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. All of the things are falling. All of the things are falling, but we're gonna get back together now. We're gonna put it back together. It's gonna be fine. Everything's fine. The Temeraire series is it's a historical fantasy. It's the Napoleonic Wars plus dragons, but it's really character focused on our dragon and dragon rider. And we have an older protagonist who has a career in the Navy, and he accidentally becomes a dragon rider and has to give up his career in the Navy and join the Dragon Air Force and fight in the war because they need dragons. And our dragon is basically a puppy in dragon size, and he is just, you know, super excited to like go off to battle, and he gets bored very easily, and it's entertaining, and I absolutely love their relationship. And I love Temerary's curiosity about the world as much as like, there's clouds over there, it's fog, I want to go explore. And also just curiosity about the politics in the world and why we do things the way that we do. And it's beautiful, and the books make me so happy. Another book that made me really happy this year is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. So I read this book for the first time in like 5 years, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was better than I remembered. I have forgotten a lot in the 5 years that it's been since I very first read this book, and it was great revisiting the characters. I have also reread Record of a Spaceborne Few, which is my favorite Wayfarers book. I've reread it so many times. So going back and reading The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet almost feels like there's Easter eggs for Record of a Spaceborne Few in there, but it was actually written first. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is about this person who is joining this long-haul spaceship crew, and she might have some hidden secrets, things about herself that she's not willing to share about her past. And we have a very diverse crew. We have people from very different species. We end up visiting most of the home planets of the different species on this crew and learning more about them, and it's really just the crew coming together in this beautiful found family story. Question 12 is the most beautiful book you bought or received this year, and have you seen my Temeraire series? This is a very new addition to my book collection. I don't buy books very often, but I had to because they're like one of my favorite series, and these editions are gorgeous, and I love the Temeraire series. Question 13 is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And my only very tangible goal is I am finishing the A Song of Ice and Fire books this year. I am reading through all of them. As I said, I'm currently reading A Clash of Kings, and I've not read any of the other books, and it's going to happen this year. That's really my only very concrete, tangible goal. As I said previously, I should really focus on finishing series and reading sequels because I haven't read enough this year. And my third goal is I want to read more broadly. I want to start reading other genres more. I work at a public library, and I currently mostly read science fiction and fantasy, and I will get people asking for recommendations in other genres. Now, I have coworkers that read other genres, and I usually direct people to them because they are much better resource for recommending books in other genres, but I would like to read more in other genres and be able to give better recommendations for all sorts of books. And there you have the mid-year freakout tag. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to do it, you are now tagged. And I hope to see you in another video. Happy reading!